January 3, 1943. During an air raid, B-17 bombers darkened the skies over Nazi-occupied Saint-Nazaire, France. An attack from German anti-aircraft artillery rips through a gun turret on one of the planes. Thankfully, the gunner, U.S. Army Air Force Staff Sergeant Alan McGee, is unharmed, but his parachute has been shredded. Suddenly, more flak blows off part of the plane's right wing, setting the bomber aflame and sending it into a deadly tailspin. What happens next is miraculous. McGee blacks out and is thrown clear of the plane. He falls over 4 miles, some 22,000 feet, and lives. He crashes through the glass roof of a train station, suffering severe injuries. However, German doctors nurse him back to health, and McGee spends most of the rest of World War II as a POW. Interestingly, Sergeant McGee isn't the only person to have survived falling out of an airplane. On January 26, 1972, Vesna Vulovic, a flight attendant, was the sole survivor after a bomb exploded aboard the JAT Yugoslav Airlines flight JU-367. She fell some 33,330 feet, earning a spot in the Guinness World Records for surviving the highest fall without a parachute. Also, who can forget brave Juliana Kopka, whom we profiled in our episode She Fell 10,000 Feet and Survived 11 Days in the Amazon Rainforest. Juliana survived an incredible 2-mile fall and then a trek through the jungle while severely injured. We don't even think we could survive a 2-mile jog, let alone a fall. How common is it to survive falling out of an airplane, though? Is there anything you could do to improve your chances of surviving? The median lethal dose for falls is 4 stories, or about 48 feet. This means that 50% of people who fall from 4 stories will sustain fatal injuries. It only gets worse as height increases. At 7 stories or 84 feet, the chance of survival are 1 in 10. So unfortunately, the chances of survival when falling out of an airplane are pretty slim. No official statistics exist, however. According to various aviation accident websites, there are less than 50 known cases of survival when falling from a plane. That would include falling out of an airplane without a parachute like Sergeant McGee, or falling attached to airplane debris like Vulovic or Kepka. If you're gonna survive the plummet, it's better to fall from the cruising altitude of a commercial flight, which is typically around 35,000 feet, rather than a shorter distance of 1,500 feet. That sounds a little crazy, but hear us out. Falling from around 1,500 feet, or a distance just a little taller than the Empire State Building, means you'll reach your terminal velocity before you hit the ground. As gravity pulls you toward Earth, you fall faster. However, at the same time, your drag increases. When downward force equals upward resistance, acceleration stops, and you'll reach the fastest speed you'll descend at, or your terminal velocity. For average adult humans, this is around 120 to 130 miles per hour. So the impact speed is the same whether you fall from 35,000 feet versus 1,500. What's different is time. 1,500 feet is going to only give you approximately 10 to 12 seconds of free fall before impact, while falling from 35,000 feet or over 6.6 miles will give you about 3 minutes of free fall before you potentially become a pancake. Actually, before and as you fall out of the plane, if possible, grab a hold of plane debris. Becoming a wreckage rider, a term coined by Jim Hamilton, creator of the Free Fall Research website, a database cataloging known free falls, can help you survive the plunge by adding some protection and even somewhat cushioning your fall. Also, the larger surface area of the debris increases air drag, slowing your descent. Flight attendant Vulovic felt jammed between her seat, a catering cart, and the body of another crew member, and a section of the airplane. Though she was severely injured, being enclosed in debris helped to shield her from the worst of the impact. Based on statistics from plausible freefall incidents, you're more likely to survive if you're attached to debris than a freefall solo. While free falling from 35,000 feet, you have enough time to possibly make some very quick decisions on how to mitigate your impact. However, there are drawbacks from falling from such a high distance. At higher altitudes, it's extremely cold. The temperature at 35,000 feet is often in excess of -67 degrees Fahrenheit. A reaction to the cold or rapid change in temperature as you drop is possible. However, there are no reports detailing how individuals have been affected. Frankly, temperature is the least of your worries. At 35,000 feet, oxygen is thin. It's likely that you'll experience hypoxia and spend roughly the first minute of your fall unconscious. You might stay unconscious for the duration of your fall and be spared the last few terrifying moments of your life, but most likely you'll come to once you've fallen around 2 miles. Of course, how fast you're falling and how quickly you regain consciousness are tied to several variables that we cannot account for. such as air currents, the trajectory at which you leave the plane, your mass, and personal blood oxygen saturation level. Once you awaken, you'll have around 2 minutes left to execute any strategies for survival. The first thing you want to do is calm down. We get it, it's extremely hard to adopt a Zen-like attitude when death is most likely imminent, but take a deep breath and try anyway. Although you've regained consciousness, your body is still feeling the effects of hypoxia. If you panic, it's really easy to hyperventilate, slip back into a blackout, and lose valuable freefall seconds you could be using to mitigate your injury or fatality. You need all your wits about you to focus on planning your landing. You cannot do that if you're freaking out. Great, now that you've taken a split second and gotten a hold of yourself, the next thing you want to do is to attempt to slow your fall and gain a few extra seconds of precious freefall time. A good position to create wind resistance is the classic skydiver's pose called the box. To assume, flip onto your stomach and arch your back, lifting your head and shoulders slightly. Spread your arms and legs equal distance. Bend your arms at the elbow. Also bend your knees about a 45-degree angle, leaving your lower legs slightly extended into the wind. Not only will this position help to slow your descent a little, in skydiving it's considered a neutral, stable freefall position from which other maneuvers are performed. From the box, you can move into the slowdown position. Lower your head, turning it to one side, straighten your arms, and further extend your legs, spreading out into an X. Flatten your torso, point your feet and toes as much as possible, and tense your muscles, deliberately pushing against the air. This position provides the greatest resistance possible. If you start to wobble or flip, return to the skydiver's box posture before trying the slow fall position again. Now, take a quick look around. It's unlikely, but you may have a second chance at grabbing a hold of some plane debris to cushion your fall. If suitable wreckage is falling nearby, you may want to try to angle yourself toward it so you can grab on. Skydivers form formations before deploying their parachute, so it's possible to steer toward and grab a hold of objects while falling. However, maneuvering during skydiving does take practice, and generally, it's not something you do on your first jump. Remember, time is at a premium, and it's better to get yourself in the best position possible for impact rather than crash land in a poor position because you were chasing debris. Whether maneuvering to reach debris or aiming for a landing spot, here are some basic moves for steering. From the box position, to turn yourself left, deflect more air off your right arm than your left by moving your left arm down and your right arm up in equal proportion. Imagine an airplane banking. That's exactly what you're doing. To turn right, do the reverse, right arm down, left arm up. You continue to turn according to your arm actions until you resume the neutral box position. Another common skydiving move is tracking or moving horizontally while free falling. For a basic side tracking stance, from the box position, straighten your arms and legs. Bring your arms to your side and rotate them out slightly so your palms are facing downward. Flatten your back, lower your head, and curl your body in just a little. Frankly, you're not going to have much time to think about proper skydiving form, so do whatever movement that seems to alter the direction of the drag force acting on your body to try to produce the desired motion to guide yourself. Your next step is to look down for a suitable landing area. It's best if you can land on or in anything that offers give, such as a tree canopy, haystack, or a snowdrift. Swampland or grass are better than plain ground. Even power lines are preferable to the ground because they break your fall. Any ground cover that spreads your impact over a longer period or absorbs it in stages could mean the difference between a couple of broken bones and severe trauma to internal organs. Try not to land in water. It can be as dangerous as landing on concrete. Firstly, you have no way of determining depth. Even when the water is deep enough for landing, once you break the surface of the water, your velocity drops almost instantaneously to zero, exerting strong G-forces on your body. If you must land in water, try to minimize impact by assuming postures that cause a minimum surface area of your body to bear the brunt of the force. That would be a pencil dive position. Jump feet first with your arms held slightly to your sides and your feet pressed together and pointed downward. You're striving to enter the water in a straight vertical line. Also, clench your muscles, especially your butt muscles, unless you want a painful and damaging forced enema. Among experienced cliff divers, injuries such as broken bones, spinal compression, and concussions occur. Even if you survive the dive into the water with only a few broken bones, you may be stunned and slow to respond. Watch out, it's easy to ingest water and possibly drown. To minimize body impact on landing, many researchers think the best posture to assume is one similar to a parachute landing fall. That means landing on the balls of your feet with the legs together and your knees a little bent. Immediately allow your body to crumple slightly backwards and into a horizontal position while turning toward one side of your body as determined by dominant directional speed. Basically, you're attempting to distribute the force of the landing step by step up your torso along 5 points of body contact with the ground: feet, calf, thigh, hip or buttock, and the side of the back. Also, you should tuck your chin and wrap your arms around your head for protection as you land. Furthermore, relax your body as much as possible. This allows you to use your body's natural elasticity to help slow things down over a greater unit of time. Ultimately, you're sacrificing the long bones in your legs, which can absorb a large amount of impact energy before fracturing, for the good of your torso. No matter how you land, of course, you want to try to protect your head and neck as much as possible. Landing head first almost certainly guarantees death. If you like this video, then go watch another one right now. Click on this video or this video. We know you're gonna love either, so don't wait. Pick one now and watch.